Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 3 of not the randomized toolkit, the Rock Me to the Top tournament 2021. Tonight we're going to be seeing Shauny versus DamagedPlushie in losers round 2. So whoever loses here will be removed from the tournament from this point on. So we're definitely going to have a nice head-to-head battle here. Runners should be starting any second now. My co-commentator, Septic Tank, taking care of that, and he should be joining us momentarily. And while we wait for that, I'll go ahead and get some of the basics out of the way. The main premise of this, we are using a de-randomizer to make it a seeded tower, so both runners will encounter the same things, the same items, and all of that good stuff. But the important thing that we're using the de-randomizer for, other than that, is we are doing some quality of life changes. We won't be seeing the tutorial 1 floors for those familiar with the game. Even can be quite a nuisance on that floor, stopping you like every 10 steps trying to explain how to play the game. We've taken that out. We've also taken out the intro cutscene of Ko being born and all that stuff. So we should see some nice speedy seeds being played out when we restart. But my co-commentator has just joined me. How are you doing today, Septic?
I'm doing pretty good. Welcome, everybody. Hello.
So I went over some of the basics of what this tournament entails with the rule set and everything. You want to explain what we're going to likely be seeing from both runners here?
Yeah, so here on the first 5 floors, both runners are going to want to try and gather as many supplies as possible, get a few levels, so that they are prepared for the water floors, because CUNY is fire. It uses a rock, paper, scissors mechanic. Fire beats wind beats water. So they're going to be preparing for those in the first 5 floors, gathering items. They don't want to hit any go-up traps during that time, but after that, go-up traps are always really good because at that point, it's all about speed.
Yeah, the go-up traps can be actually quite detrimental on the first 5, because those first 5 floors are generally pretty safe for the most part, especially if you're running with Kuhn. So you can pretty easily deal with most of the stuff on those floors, so it's an ideal spot to actually pick up some loot for later on. But Septic, what are the 5 items that we just saw both of the runners pick up, and what significance might they actually have?
Okay, so they picked up a copper sword, a wooden shield, and these are very low rank equipment items that just boost their defense and attack a little bit to help them with fighting. And then there's medicinal herb, which can cure around 30 to 40 HP whenever used. And then they also got a fireball with 5 charges and a random colored egg. However, that egg is always a palumpa. The egg will more than likely be used for one of 2 purposes. Either as an egg bomb, which will do significant damage to a target, usually killing, or they'll hatch it if they can get the blue collar to fuse with Kuhn and give him water element, which will be served real good purpose later on.
Yeah, and that's something we might actually see that from Shauny. I know he is he's a very technical runner, very technically sound, and he is very much into the water strats after a certain point. And with the way that the tower works, you're not always guaranteed to find something like a CC that you can just easily change your familiar's element with. So that is a pretty reliable way of being able to switch your familiar's element at pretty much on a whim. But like Septic said, you will need to get the blue collar. That'll be found on floor 12 if they manage to find it. So that's still a little ways away. We'll touch on that a little bit later. Plushie finding a golf wand. Okay, it's the wand, but not the one we're wanting to see here. I did notice that Shauny actually named his Hune Roska. I'm not sure. I know it's a Finnish word that means trash. It was found out earlier in the previous match today, and Shauny generally names his Qn trash, so he's just splurging a little with a new word. But both runners, well, Plushie doesn't have her HUD displayed, but I imagine she's at least level 2 by now, which is a very important level. Yeah, she's got level 2, Qn's level 2, so the first level up from level 1 to 2 is really vital. You want to get that as fast as you can. And there's various ways you can do it. A troll is actually enough experience to get both you and Qn to level 2 in one kill. And a restore scroll on Shauny's side. That'll be nice.
Yeah, restore scrolls are actually pretty rare. You don't tend to see. You generally can go through the entire tower without ever seeing one. Nice little safety item to have in case Qn either runs into accidental death or intentional death. Depends on how the runner decides to go about it. But yeah, it'll definitely be a major safety.
Yeah, they can be a pretty rare item. It's always nice to find them, and both of these runners are definitely going to keep that in their back pocket for as long as they can. It's a nice, somewhat of a get out of jail free card, I guess, depending on how you want to look at it. But both of these runners are likely going to be searching for a wand. Obviously, they found that golf wand, but that is a misaligned element, so they're not going to get as much benefit as they would have if they had, well, specifically a scarlet wand at the moment, which would line up with their fire mixture magic with Qn. But there are also other wands that are non-elemental, like the paralyzed wand, the life wand, a steel wand. Any of those would also be good. Preferably not a seal wand, realistically, but the paralyzed wand can be pretty clutch, and the life wand, it's, I mean, just always good. How can you say no to free healing, you know?
Oh, definitely. Life Wand is one of my favorites for sure. It's every time they hit an enemy with a Life Wand, they'll recover a little bit of HP, depending on the damage they do. So, with Mixture Magic, that tends to be significant enough to allow them to sometimes take an extra hit from monsters, or at least give a little more sustain as they run about the tower.
Because we're going to quickly find that both of these runners are going to be using their HP extensively as a resource. I'm sure you've probably noticed by now, because they've been in a few fights each. Once they take damage, and as they walk or skip turns, or even just in the middle of combat, every once in a while they'll regain an HP. So you can see Shauny here, his HP is slowly recovering as he's running through the tower. So your HP will naturally regenerate 1 every 16 steps or so, something along those lines. So we're going to see them rely on that pretty heavily to get in. Well, I mean, other than just dealing with natural combat, there's going to be some damaging traps and whatnot. Sometimes they'll opt to just take a hit or two to, get out of a situation if they can. So the hit points are definitely a vital resource that runners need to get used to using as much as possible.
And HP recovery actually goes up progressively as you have more HP. So it doesn't take as many turns later for you to get 1 HP back. Because I think it does it like every 16 turns, a percentage.
Oh, okay. We are finding a paralyzed wand on Plushie's side, and there is no hesitation in equipping it immediately. I feel pretty good about that one. If I found a paralyzed one this early, I'd probably go with it as well.
Oh, certainly. Like the damage boost you get from wand, general wands that aren't the scarlet or of the aligned element of your familiar, they give a 25% boost to the mixture magic damage. And that is huge compared to swords while you have a familiar. The wands only come with 1 attack. So, like, the general hit from them is nothing really worth speaking about. But that extra 25% makes a huge difference, and the paralyze effect is just a bonus on top of that. If they ever do find a Scarlet Wand, or if they switch Q into water and use a Stream Wand, they'll actually get a 50% boost.
Ooh, Shawnee also found the paralyzed wand, playing it a little bit safer than Plushie with the not wanting to risk it possibly being cursed, identifying it with a truth glass. But the thing I wanted to touch on there is he hit a rather unfortunate warp trap right next to the elevator. We're gonna probably see in these tower climbs that warp traps are very unfriendly, just in general. But the ones that are close to the elevator are especially sickening, I guess is the best way I can put it. Unless they're nice, sometimes they can be nice and they'll just put you a couple tiles away from wherever you started off. But every once in a while they'll put you, 3-4 rooms away or on the complete opposite side of the map. And at that point, Poe is by himself, basically helpless because your familiar is too far away to be able to help. And in the same turn, your familiar is also basically helpless without you at that point. And there's a fairly decent chance that you can lose them unless you have a handy little item called a familiar bell, but those are somewhat rare. I mean, they're not as rare as the restore scroll or anything, but you're by no means guaranteed to find one. So traps are definitely going to play a heavy role in how this match goes down for sure. Shawnee using star glasses immediately on floor 6. And another warp trap. Sorry, the paralyzed traps actually look pretty similar to the warp traps, but that one was actually pretty nice, only taking him 1 tile away. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Oh, this can be bad. Shawnee just hit a frog trap. That boat wakes up. Kyun could very well be in danger, and he's going to have to use his restore scroll pretty early. Looks like he's getting a little bit lucky though so far.
Oh, he's getting extremely lucky. Every time that boat gets hit, it has a chance to wake up, I believe. And with Kyun being fire elemental, the U-boat there is actually water element. It would do significant damage. We're talking probably 13 to 15 damage on Kyun, so he'd only be able to take maybe 2 or 3 hits at most. A Holy Bell is a nice find, and the Paralyzed proc on Plushie's side. It's always nice to get a Paralyzed proc.
Yeah, William making a good point. That was heavy MP usage. Yeah, because whenever we use generally we use mixture magic for attacking. It's actually the cheapest form of delivering damage with your familiar. If the familiar is in AI 1 or AI 4 and attacking on its own, it actually uses a fair bit more MP per attack. Oh, and already using the Holy Bell on Shauny's side.
Yeah, he was doing a bit of what we call U-boat dancing on the last floor with a Mahel Seed to try and pick up that spell ball, which unfortunately was only a recovery ball. Now that might come into play at some point. The recovery ball can mainly only be used to cure your familiar. There are some niche strats that you could possibly use to heal Ko with it at some point. We might see that come into use, but also at the same time, if we end up needing space on Shauny's side, that is a prime item to be tossed away. So we very well may not see that as well. We're getting a little bit of a monster train on Shauny's side here. He's got some blooms quite interested in. He might have actually juked the majority of them. Okay, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. He took a couple hits, but the 2 other blooms and the Maneva just left, and he managed to avoid the U-boat with the donut there on the path, so all is well. And unfortunately, the scroll being not really worth it with it only being a decurse. But you know, it is what it is. He has means of restoring his HP, whether it be just wandering around for a little while, or in case of an emergency. Ooh. He does have a medicinal herb. And another
And
holy
another
bow.
holy bell.
Getting a bit of a
That's,
stockpile of them at the moment. Those are always good to have.
yeah, so far the seed is seeming pretty generous. I do know they picked up a blaze ball and a pillar ball earlier.
And I believe they found a sleep ball on one of the early floors as well.
Yeah, and the magic balls, they are very highly sought for during the run because most items, whenever you end up using them, they're done. But all the spell balls have multiple charges, minimum 4, but up to a possible maximum of 7. Save for the acid rain, which is a 1-use guaranteed only ball. So having a single fireball can help you deal with multiple monsters, and they are getting really stocked with those.
Yeah, they definitely are. The balls are always nice to have in large supply. We did see Shawnee pick up a sea seed, so we probably won't see him go out of his way to find a blue collar or hatch the Palumpa egg. That's probably like a guaranteed throw, and especially with him being right next to the elevator on floor 12 with a Kraken in the room, I don't blame him not going for the blue collar at all. Ooh, this is another
Oh,
ugly room.
elevator train. He can take a rise, but I
Yeah,
think you would have to walk through both of them.
ooh.
Oh, this can be bad.
Yeah, he could still take a rise here, and this could be it. Okay, they played nice. They played nice. Griffins are generally really trigger happy. If you are in line with them in a room, they are more than happy to blast you with a rise. And rise being the strongest fire spell in the game can, as we see, do a massive chunk of damage, especially when you're only level 6 on these floors. We didn't really touch on it, but this game has several points where it fully expects you to either die or leave and re-gear, come back stronger. Because every time you enter the tower, Ko will start out at level 1, but your familiars will retain whatever levels and stats that they had when you left or died. So generally, the game will expect you to come in, do a couple trips, get an egg or two, bring them back, hatch them with you, level them up, increase your gear stats, get a better shield and all that stuff, use the red and blue sands, power up, and then basically force your way up the tower. But here, we're not allowed to do any re-entries. So wind crystals and obviously dying. There is a niche thing you can do with Oleams where you can sacrifice a familiar to leave the tower as well. All of these things are illegal. So we have to get up as high as we can in one go, which is a lot more difficult than it might sound. I know it might actually sound kind of difficult, especially if you've played this game before, but actually physically doing it is a lot more difficult than it might initially seem. Because a lot of it comes down to how the floor is laid out, whether you're close to the elevator or not, what kind of items and things you come across. And sometimes the tower is just not having it, and there's nothing you can really do about it. But Shawnee reaching floor 16 and getting to a nice leveling ground with the Garudas, especially with the fireballs and everything he has, he can very easily kill some Garudas, get up a handful of levels, increase that survivability. And with it being floor 16, Septic, you wanna tell everyone what we might see on floor 16?
Yes, our favorite little gotcha machine, the Barong. Basically, with him, you can trade up to 6 items for a random other item, evenly distributed across the pool of items in terms of rarity. So you can easily exchange out like a live fruit, which is a pretty much no-purpose fruit, and get a roach fruit and have yourself a Garuda on the same floor. Very, very, very good thing to do, obviously. And yeah, the MP for the Barong will run out after 6 uses, and then from there, you'll actually be able to use the Barong for bouncing monsters back and
Oh
avoiding a
no.
lot of encounters just by having them.
Plushie's not in a good situation here. She lost her Cune to a U-boat. Managed to pick it up and throw it, but ended up hitting a blinder trap at the same time and now has a bit of a train behind her as well. I believe she still has a restore scroll, so it's not all doom and gloom. If she can get a free moment here, she can get her little buddy back and be on be in a fairly good place again, but she is in a bit of a rough spot at the moment.
Yeah, she's definitely really hoping for the elevator in one of these rooms now. She has some supplies. I noticed she had a wind seed. She could definitely get rid of the Maneva. If she keeps walking forward, she's gonna... Yeah, she
Yeah,
aggroed the
yeah.
bloom.
Now, does she have maybe a holy scroll or... You know, she could, if she takes another step, takes one more step, she can put that to sleep and block off that hallway, which would help a lot. Oh,
Yeah, and
yeah,
she's
now
gonna
she's
be
gonna get
wishing she did
censored.
that. This is not a good scenario.
She really needs to get a couple dodges here. Does she still have a medicinal herb by chance? She has
She has
2 medicinals.
two.
That's great. That's fantastic. She could, oh, and a holy scroll. There's a lot of possibilities she could do to get out of this situation. Let's hope she finds a good one. While Shauny spending a bit of time on floor 16, leveling up a little bit, probably looking for a barong. I can't imagine he would spend terribly much, or he wouldn't spend too much time looking for. Oh, and he lucks out, finds one. Now, does he have anything he's willing to get rid of to try and get something better?
Looks like
Oh,
she's working her way out of this situation on Plushie's
yeah,
side.
she's low again. She's probably one hit from being dead at this point. But she has a medicinal. It's alright. It's alright.
Problem is, she's already checked this room up here, and so... Okay, they're all getting distracted by the bloom. That didn't last long. But yeah, there's no elevator in sight for her for a little bit.
There are
Seems to
some
be really
alternate
bad.
paths in these rooms up here that she didn't take, so she could always get lucky and find the elevator. I don't remember the layout of this floor from when Shauny was on this floor previously.
She... Actually,
Oh,
she
that was,
might... Oh, that was a bad misstep.
yeah, that was a misstep on her side. Shauny found a white sand and another sea seed, yet we definitely won't be seeing a hatched Palumpa.
There's the
Oh,
elevator.
there we go. Now she can get a bit of a break. Now, yeah, especially now, she definitely has all the time in the world to get Kuhn back. And it's not too late. She didn't go up a ton of floors or anything, so he'll still be relevant. A lot of times that can be kind of the downfall of the restore scroll in like an any percent situation, where your familiar dies, especially if he dies early, like level 5 or 6, especially below 9, because that's kind of where Hume's mixture magic tops out for the most part. But if you find a restore scroll on like floor 30 or something, and your Kuhn's only level 4, bringing him back isn't gonna be too much of a help, especially in combat. But I mean, he might be able to take a hit for you or something, distract. And last week's match, we actually saw Poulet use a Dreamin' to quite good effect, using it to distract. So there are still possibilities. The familiars can be used in many different ways, but it's unlikely.
Yeah, Shawnee's having to deal now with pickets. The pickets here, what they like to do is steal your stuff. And they are very good at targeting items that you obviously want to keep. At least it seems that way. I'm pretty sure it might actually in the code be a little randomized, but it always feels like they grab the most important. Right there, Shawnee did have his holy bell stolen. He did just get it back from one of them. These floors, the pickets, they move two times per turn. So you can't run away from them. You have to pretty much deal with them whenever you encounter them. But otherwise, they don't really do hardly any damage. They're not like a threat to your life in most cases. They are just really annoying and can be a threat to the run as a whole.
Yeah, pickets aren't really something that you can easily avoid. They're something that you gotta figure out a way to deal with them pretty quick. There are a couple ways that you can manipulate them. I know Septic is a big Leva fruit fan.
Absolutely.
But you can also manipulate what they steal by putting an item under your feet. We call it stutter stepping, where you step on an item and push run at the same time, and it prevents you from picking up the item. If you do that, when a picket tries to steal, it'll guarantee that it steals the item on the ground instead of from your inventory. But because pickets move twice as fast as you, unless you see them coming ahead of time, it can be difficult to set that up. And Shawnee moving up to floor 19. Shawnee's actually looking pretty good at the moment. He's got a decent level. His Kuhn's still alive. On floor 19. He's looking pretty good.
Yeah,
And
definitely. He's also got an 8-floor lead, so he's definitely got a comfortable pace.
6-floor lead.
Oh yeah, the elevator train.
A bit of an elevator train error on Plushie's side. She's catching up there. How is she gonna deal with this room? Yeah. Okay, she got out of there with only one hit as well.
That was actually perfect because Shauny got Rise.
Yeah.
I think he might have dodged a hit or something after that.
Shawnee actually pulling off a Maneva tactic on these floors. There are two monsters that I can think of that you encounter pretty much all throughout the tower, those being trolls and Maneva, and every time you encounter them, they're a bit different. The trolls end up getting different weapons as you level up. The Manevas end up getting new abilities. They can transform into items, and eventually they can transform into other monsters. However, you can kind of manipulate them to an extent. We saw that on Shawnee's side, and he was being followed by a Maneva, so he dropped an item in the middle of a hallway, and with the Maneva not being aggroed onto him, defaulted to, oh, there's an item in front of me, I'm going to be a sneaky Maneva and transform into it and lie in wait. So it's a nice way of getting the Maneva to just leave you alone for a little while. Now, it does have the backfire of you can't really go back down that path anymore without being forced to deal with the Maneva somehow, either that be taking a hit or, killing it in some way, shape, or fashion. But it is a nice way to deal with them that one-off. And I know Shawnee is a big fan of that. So we'll probably see that a few times throughout these tower climbs as well. And we saw Shawnee has switched to water strats, which is going to put him in a pretty good place for basically for the rest of the tower. He might have a bit of a rough spell in like the mid-20s when a lot of the enemies are going to be wind-based, but that actually shouldn't be too much of a problem considering that they have a couple fireballs on hand, and I haven't really seen them use too many charges out of it yet, so he can kind of just blast away at that point. Pretty much the only thing Shawnee would really be looking for to improve his setup at this point is a Stream Wand, just for that extra bonus damage on top of the Paralyzed Wand. And and actually the Viper strat, you wanna talk about the egg manip?
Yeah, so Vipers, whenever they're in a room with an egg, they will generally go to eat the egg. So what Shauny was doing there was he was putting an egg down because once that egg is in the room, the Viper only cares about that egg. He will literally ignore the player and Kuhn to go eat that egg. So he was using that to prevent any chances for damage while he went for the lift.
And the Vipers in particular can be pretty nasty. Not only do they have, well, actually, you probably know how many HP they have by heart. But they have a nice chunk of HP. They hit like a truck. Like, you can expect 30 damage minimum from them unless you have like a windshield or something. But they also have the nasty effect of permanently draining your attack, unless you can cure it with like a Hazard Herb or a Cure All or something. And in a run like this, where you're relying pretty heavily on your mixture magic, that every time that you get your attack decreased is going to be a little bit less damage that you're going to dish out, which is going to make the entire climb a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, Viper's HP sits at 64, so they are pretty tanky.
Yeah, they're pretty
they're
tanky.
water.
Yeah, the water element really helps them with the whole tanky aspect, because a lot of times you're still going to be fire elementals, so they're going to have a nice chunk of HP, and you're going to be dealing less damage to them. And if they end up hitting Kuhn, he's going to be in for a world of hurt. But we're getting into a bit of
the gotcha machine.
Yeah, she did, and an exit loop from it. Okay. I didn't see all of exactly what she got out of it, but can't complain about free loot, am I right?
Oh, not at all. I do know she rode a Laev fruit in one of those, so that was kind of a wasted row. I didn't get to see too many of the others.
What did she didn't lose her Kuhn, did she?
Actually, I don't know. I didn't see if she did.
It looked like he's still alive.
No, he's still alive. She just had to bag him at some point.
Okay. And Shauny actually switched his Kuhn back to fire. Ooh, getting barked at. That could have been the end of the red. Very easily could have been the end of Shauny's climb. If that had landed, it would have paralyzed him. And he would have ended up, well, he did end up landing a hit before, so Kuhn probably would have been able to finish that fight off. But he definitely would have took a beating for it.
It's actually interesting. Shauny has switched back to fire strats because he does have an extra.
Yeah, he has that second
CC.
CC there, yeah. Oh, and the paralyzed coming off strong. I'm not. Plushie, is she looking for the elevator, or is she looking for more stuff to feed the little Baron?
I think she's just looking for the elevator at this point. She's drained his MP and just holding onto him for bouncing monsters back, it looks like.
Yeah, I've seen her tossing it a few times, but oh, I love doing that so much.
And Lucas says it's a great boomerang. It's probably the best boomerang because after you throw it, it doesn't run away.
Well, it's not really a boomerang then, is it? If it doesn't.
Yeah, that's true. It's not even a boomerang. It's a stone.
It's a stone worth a nice chunk of experience too. We'll probably see Plushie kill it for that little bit of experience before she goes up.
Yeah, Shauny keeps running into these snowmen. Thing about the snowmen is they may look like they are tiny little lightweight creature, but you actually can't lift them. They're water and they have 78 HP. They are very troublesome if you're still running fire element.
For sure. And they also have a neat little ability. I don't think we've actually seen one yet, but there is a spell ball called Ice Rock that can create a wall that has, I believe, 255 HP.
I actually think Shauny has one.
Oh, does he? Okay. Well, the reason that we're definitely not going to see one being used on a snowman is because they have the ability to destroy obstacles. They don't care how much HP it has. It's gone in one hit.
Yeah, he does have it. I saw it in his inventory just now. But yeah, he won't be seeing much use out of that against these snowmen, that's for sure.
And oh, okay. Got a bit of scout ball action there. Realizing he does not want anything to do with that room. And then being redirected directly to the elevator. You love to see it.
Ooh,
And yeah, Plushie didn't really have any choice in that matter. She kind of had to deal with it.
she's got a wind seed. But she's opting for the sleep strat.
It worked out pretty nicely. Generally I try to avoid using sleep in rooms just because of the effect that monsters can kind of just wake up if you're in the room with them. But it worked out quite well for her, so can't complain about that. She is having a bit of an issue finding the elevator on this floor. There, yeah, there it is. It's always the last room you check.
Being headed off by Maneva. She didn't
Ooh.
slow down to check its position.
She can't afford to just walk through it and take the hits.
She only has 38 HP. I actually think 2 hits she would die. She would need Kuhn to share some of the damage.
Yeah. She was just a little bit shy of being able to just tank that and then heal up with a med
don't pick
herb.
up the item. Don't pick up the item. Just go. Don't.
Yeah, it does.
Her
her inventory is full, and yeah, she wouldn't be.
Okay.
If she had picked the item up there, she would not have been able to go up the elevator because the at foot command that would allow you to go up would be in hand instead, and it would force you to do something with the item that you're holding over your head. And considering that her inventory was full, she would have either had to drop the item or use it, which would have used up a turn and not been a good thing. And
it's actually
Shauny
unique about the elevator because you can hold Kuhn and use warp traps without any issues. It seems like it's just the elevator that is really picky about allowing you to use it if you're holding an item.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why that is, to be fair. Now that is not saying that you can't hold an item or a familiar and go up. If you have the item already held and you step on the elevator, you can go up, and if it'll just drop the item or whatever you're carrying as you go up. But if you're already on the elevator and pick an item up, for whatever reason, it does not let you activate the elevator. And Shauny running into one of the scariest enemies in this game, in my opinion.
Oh, definitely. Like, even at the 81 HP that Shauny has, these guys have a really high crit rate. And if it crits, it can easily do that whole 81 damage.
Yeah, I was gonna say, with only having a leather shield on, if he gets a crit, he could easily die in one hit there. And I believe you were gonna say that Wooga mentioned he found a stream wand. Is that what you were about to say?
Actually, I was about to mention specifically the time that we have on the clock versus Shauny's level. He's at 431 now at 37 minutes. This is a really good pace by any standards for this game.
Yeah.
Like, he's actually going really fast.
Yeah, and that is something to point out. While both of these runners are doing quite well, in a general speedrun setting, just being able to clear the tower in a single go, regardless of how long it takes, is an impressive feat. We are limiting the runners to an hour per entry just for time's sake. But if you can do this at all, you get a thumbs up from me, that's for sure. because this game can be quite difficult to manage at times. There's a lot of on the fly thinking, and no run is ever going to be exactly the same. So it really comes down to how well you know the game mechanics and your overall luck. Really, it takes a lot of luck.
It does.
And
A run can be doomed if you just don't even get any items. Like, there's a lot of situations where you're just not going to be able to handle it with or without Kyun. And,
ooh, Shauny taking a beating from this
yeah.
dragon. He does have a recovery ball. I don't think it's going to help too much. He might be able to take another hit with a recovery ball if it's a high roll. That was a fairly high roll. He might have been able to take another hit there. Oh, and another one. Oh, and a golem. Oh no, Shauny is not looking good.
It looks like he's going to backtrack and just try to avoid the situation altogether.
Now that is a kind of an interesting thing that I don't know I was ever really aware of. Plushie hatching an egg while she's confused actually changes the color of the egg. That's kind of a neat little thing.
Yeah, I've seen that once. This is actually the only the second time I've seen it. It's a good way to, I guess, if you're planning to go ahead and use, or go ahead and hatch that egg, that if you're confused and there's nothing threatening you, just go ahead and start hatching. Might as well use that time, wisely at that point.
Yeah, that is a good point. If you're planning on hatching an egg anyway, or you feel like there might be the possibility that you'll hatch the egg, you might as well if you're just gonna end up skipping turns anyway. Oh, and a nice go-up trap. Love to see it. And this dragon doing work for Shauny right now. He just cleared that entire room and he's just gonna bite the bullet. Shauny is a brutal man indeed.
XP though.
Yeah.
And luckily, there was the elevator right next door, so he didn't really need the support anymore.
Cleared out an entire room and gained a level all with one item. That's kind of the thing that I was touching on earlier, where your item management is really going to come into play with how easy or difficult the tower is. Now there's several ways that Shauny probably could have dealt with that, but that was probably one of the most ideal ones because it only cost him the one item, and he ended up getting the dragon kill really easy because the dragon had taken a beating fighting for him.
Oh, now he's chasing this blonde glacier to kill it.
Yeah, I think if he hits level 23, he'll feel comfortable with full AI 1, being able to kill anything on these floors. I believe I'm not 100% on what level he needs to be able to do that, but with him going out of his way to kill the glacier, I imagine he wants to get to 23.
That's probably it. Like, I don't really know with Kyun, particularly levels in terms of what kind of damage you can do, what strats work on these higher floors. I generally run without Kyun. Yeah, that's probably what it was.
Oh, and another Barong. Is he going to take the time to play with this one as well? I don't really think that it's necessary at this point. He does have an open item slot and something to throw at it, so I guess, why not?
Yeah, I think the decision here is probably just to have the boomerang option again. Like,
yeah, that is a
being
good
able to
point.
do that is just nice.
It does also give you the option to get a nice clutch item like a flat scroll or something, just in case. So, didn't really get anything super useful out of it other than the Barong itself, but I mean, that might be worth it all on its own though. And not really coming into play, but it didn't really cost too much time either, so. Still looking really good on time too. Floor 37 at roughly 43 minutes. That's not bad.
Yeah, with a little bit of elevator luck, we can probably be seeing like a 47-minute finish.
Yeah, and generally in in any percent run, you would call time after you pick up the egg on 40th floor. Here we're gonna be calling time once a runner gets to floor 40, just for time's sake. Oh, she walked right by the elevator into a sleep trap, and it's gonna cost her a lot of HP. She can, well, I don't know. She has high ground. She might not be able to take that if she jumps down.
I'm curious how many charges her sleep ball has left. I know she's used it quite a few times. She could go for an egg bomb or the holy scroll.
Yeah, the
She went with the holy bell.
yeah. I
On
don't
Magic
know.
Ground Hill, she should de-aggro him
Yeah,
first.
I don't know how I feel about the Holy Bell. If she had used the Holy Scroll, she could have skipped turns a lot faster and had the snowman to protect her and then maybe even potential experience after the fact. But the Holy Bell worked out. The classic paralyzed trap. We didn't see too many of them. We saw a handful of warp traps though.
The same thing with that paralyzed trap happened on Shauny's side, and it also
Yeah.
didn't work on the snowman.
Plushie actually reaching floor 28. That for a fairly new runner, she's doing quite well.
Oh, most definitely. Like she's still got some supplies as well. Like she's not overly consuming supplies to get this far, and that's actually what I think is most impressive about it is that she doesn't have near the amount of experience as most of these other runners, but she's still putting up a really good show.
Okay, Shauny making me a little scared there, giving Kuhn a win seed there, but he fed it a C seed right away as well, just clearing up some inventory space. Oh wow, that
Yeah.
actually hit from that far away. What kind of range do those balls have?
I honestly I don't know. I know certain spells do have a limited range, but that was definitely outside that normal range that
Yeah, I don't think I've
I
ever.
don't know what spells it is that are so limited.
I do know from using the randomizer, if you have wind based spells, I believe it's the breath version or the wind version of breath only goes like 5 tiles or something like that. And we have a floor 40 from Shawnee. That is a round 1 victory. And Septic will get the runner set up for round 2. And while we do that, we'll get to see a little bit of Plushie continuing up. Oh, and her snowman going down to a hidden mini. I think it's funny that the enemies can immediately tell when one of their friends has been holy scrolled and they just don't care. And Plushie gonna do us a favor, showing us what kind of eggs we could have seen. What else do we have? We had the basic Palumpa she carried from the top. Oh, maybe she's not. She was actually just trying to kill it. That's my bad. Shauny might actually show us what kind of eggs we have left. I believe he has a handful of them.
Okay, they should be set on their way to setting up the second seed.
We didn't really talk about it at the time, but when we hit floor 31, we actually get to see an apparition or a ghost or whatever you want to call it. Some form of this guy Beldo. And it's kind of the only bit of story that you really get in the game outside of the introduction when you're born and all of that good stuff. Basically, he says that he killed your father and come meet him on the top floor. And then when you get here, well, I mean, he tries to kill you. And then he basically does kill you. And there's not really anything you can do about it because it is a scripted fight. The fun fact, though, I believe it was Wooga, and correct me if I'm wrong because I believe Wooga's in chat right now, but found that there is actually a way that you can actually lose that fight if you use a Tumna fruit and turn yourself into a frog and you die. You actually do die, and get sent back home with no items.
That's actually news to me because I never even considered the thought of eating a tumna fruit on that floor. But yeah,
Yeah,
you
exactly. It's
wouldn't be
just
able to
kind of a
use the sword.
yeah. I am not sure what Wooga said at all, other than Roska or whatever. I know he's the trash. I know that. Oh man, look at all those supplies still left. There's so many. I mean, the spell balls themselves, but they still had a nice amount of charges in there. So Plushie sitting on seed screen 8361.
8361. Is that? Yeah.
Alright, and
Okay.
Shauny should be there momentarily. Okay, so it wasn't Wooga. I'm not sure who it was. It was posted in the Azure Dreams Discord, which, speaking of, if anyone would like to join the Azure Dreams Discord, there's a link for you. It is called Azure Dreams Speedruns, but anyone is more than welcome to join. We have oh, excuse me. We have resources for casual play, speedrunning. Like we have the randomizer that anyone is more than willing to, more than able to use. I cannot speak tonight. I'm sorry. Um, and there's a ton of neat stuff you can do with the randomizer. You can actually unlock the second tower. You can do set seed endurance and all kinds of stuff. And there are a handful of things you can do with the randomizer on the leaderboard, like the set seed endurance mode. And it can be actually quite fun to play around with some of the settings. Our last tournament, the random toolkit tournament, heavily utilized some of those um, settings between changing up what monster you start with, because normally you would always start with Kuhn. You can make it so you start with a random monster or a specific one of your choice. You know, whatever. You can change whatever element they have they start off with, and all kinds of cool stuff. It's definitely worth checking out. You believe I post? I don't think I posted a clip in Discord about the frog thing. Oh, now we're all getting confused. Let's just leave it at if you turn yourself into a frog and Beldo kills you, bad things happen. So don't do it.
It looks like we're still waiting on Plushie. Okay,
Yeah, did
she's
she? I think she reset, I guess. I was looking at chat and saw she's renaming, so I'm not quite sure what went on there, but we'll be ready momentarily. And again, we'll likely see the both runners do the first 5 exploratory, gathering in items, equipment, all that good stuff, and then they'll probably rocket up the tower again. So, is there anything in particular you want to talk about, Septic, while we let them get their setup and their items and everything on the first 5?
The runners are ready actually just now, so I'm gonna go ahead and get them started off here.
All right, all right. I have no idea what any of you guys are saying in chat. Okay, well then I blame Sand Knight for chat. That's you'll if you join the Discord, you'll find quickly that that's the go-to. Blame Sandbag.
Okay, countdown is a go. They should be starting shortly.
I guess it is also worth noting for anyone interested in playing this game. There are aspects that you can play outside of going into the tower. There is a whole town building thing. There is a bit of a dating sim where you can get, is it 6 girlfriends? I don't really do that section of the game too often. But
Yeah, it's 6 on the save screen. There's 7 slots, one for Beldo, and then six girls.
yeah, and there are speedrunning categories based around those as well. There's a curry percent where you get one of the girls in particular and be really rude to her about it. In fact, there is 100%. Obviously, there's book list where basically you do everything except for get all of the monsters. Hence the book list, because that is as Shauny would say, like the Pokedex of everything. Whenever you encounter an enemy in the tower, it gets logged in the monster book that your little sister has. Yeah, there's quite a few different run categories that feature different aspects of the game. So if that's something that you're interested in, you should definitely give that a look as well. We're always looking for new runners. And we're getting a name from both runners again, I believe. I'd miss what Shauny actually named his Kyun.
I didn't catch it myself.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's trash or something along those lines. Oh, it's just basic
Oh, he
Kyun
didn't even
today.
name it.
Okay. No, Revan doesn't have any girlfriends in Azure Dreams. He doesn't do the town stuff. He doesn't really run the game all that much anyway. Every once in a while I'll get the itch, but it hasn't been so much recently. A binding ball right off the start is pretty great. That is essentially a guaranteed lift. Or
Yeah, as we tend to use our HP a lot to avoid consuming our items, just simply having a binding ball can allow you to go for those lifts and put your HP to 1 hit away from death, and still be able to get the lift off at the cost of 1 charge. With multiple charges, that can give you a lot of safety across far more lift attempts.
what is the lift? It's the lift percent is like 62.5, 63, something like that.
As far as I knew, it was 60%. I don't know if there was a specific number above that. I've always heard just a rounded 60% for lifting.
And I do
It's
know
definitely better than a failure. Like, you have better odds of succeeding in a lift than...
yeah, it's definitely in your favor for sure. And I have seen Plushie do a handful of practice for this tournament, and she usually has insanely good lift luck.
Yes, she has, even during her practice runs, she was doing some practice before this race. She was just lifting monsters back to back and having no issues at all.
Yeah, there
It's
was one point
really crazy.
she had lifted like 6 or 7 things in a row. It was absolutely ridiculous. And I know Shauny's been doing a bit of practice as well. I believe I saw him doing a practice seed right before this match started as well. I didn't actually get to catch any of his though.
Yeah, that was probably during the time Plushie was doing hers. I didn't get to see it either.
But we got the like we had mentioned before, getting your level 2 as early as possible is pretty vital. You only start out with 16 hit points, and with the wood shield is kind of garbage. it only really protects you for 1 damage. So you don't really have a lot of leeway when it comes to taking hits, especially from some of the stronger enemies like Flame or Cyclone. So really, you kind of want to find a troll as fast as possible and find a way to kill it, whether that be mixture magic or I know Septic's a fan of just taking a sword and chucking it at it because it's a guaranteed kill for that level up.
It's also super fast.
It is, yeah.
Here's something
And
interesting, a different path of mindset. Plushie equipped the Vital Sword. It is a +2 Vital Sword, and there was also a Hazak Seed, so she's got an additional 8 attack. Shauny just chucked his Vital Sword.
oh, did he? I can't
Yeah,
really
that's
say
not
that I blame
watching.
him. I generally don't really like using swords, but if I find a good one, especially if it's an elemental one early on, I am really tempted to equip it. Especially if it's like a fire or blizzard sword, they can be particularly good early on. And another paralyzed one, is she going to immediately equip it? She does, and it's not cursed. That worked out really well for her. Although at this point, I think I might stay with the Vital +2 for a little while. And just,
I definitely would. I think she'll have to get at least a few levels before the paralyzed one gives her benefit to damage,
yeah,
even
yeah.
with mixture magic.
I mean, she could even save a few MP by just not using mixture magic at all with a sword that strong this early.
Yeah. And when what you were mentioning about the elemental swords, I do want to touch on the fact that I actually really like Gulf Wind Sword because floors 6 through 9 are some of the scarier floors. Getting past them, it doesn't guarantee obviously a floor 20 because it's Azure Dreams. Nothing's guaranteed, but they are some of the rougher floors until you do get to 20. So I really do like the Gulfwind Sword for just dealing with the blooms and Manoevas.
Am I hearing praise for wind strats?
Yeah, yeah, you are.
Wow, wow! I never thought I would see. I'd see the day. Wind strats verified good by Septic Tank.
I didn't say they're good. They have their place.
Shawnee actually just found a stream one, so he'll probably hold on to that for a good while as well, in the hopes of basically doing what he did last run, getting to the higher floors, swapping to water, and just kind of going to town with the water strats. It's a very solid way to climb the tower. But
Plus, you just found an Acid Rain Ball, which the Acid Rain Ball is the only water element spell or spell ball that you can get, and it also hits everything in the room, or all 8 tiles around you if you're in a hallway. Very strong ball to have. It only comes with 1 charge, I mentioned earlier, but that 1 charge can be the difference between ripping on the next floor you spawn in because of the enemy spawns around you, or just getting out scot-free.
And there is also the possibility that you can recharge it if you get lucky and find a white sand. So they're nice to have around, and unless you need space. And even then, I personally find it kind of hard to part with an acid rain, even if it's empty. I like to bank on the what if I get that white sand.
I'm very much the same in that, like, the Acid Rain it's soaking up 1 slot and being useless if you've already used its charge, but White Sands, they can definitely change everything for you when you have an Acid Rain, so I do very much like keeping hold of them.
And what floor is Plushie moving on to right now? Floor
Floor
5.
5.
Okay, okay.
But it's an instant floor 6 if she decides to take
Yeah,
it.
she knows exactly where the elevator is, and from what we just saw on Shawnee, she'll have a nice little elevator train up to floor 7. And if she picks going the right way, up to floor 8 pretty much immediately.
she's opting to go ahead and continue searching for items, which I completely agree with.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely want to be prepared for the next few floors.
There's definitely an argument for going up or staying, and they're both valid. Um, Considering she was a bit behind last round, I don't know if she necessarily knows how far behind she was. It's definitely something that she could consider because she spawned so close to the elevator on the 5th floor anyway. She has a decent inventory. You could make the argument that it's just go, but at the same time, like Septic was saying there, if you already know where the elevator is, it can't really hurt too much to go and search for a couple extra items and then just double back real quick.
Oh, and it's important to note about this race, the runners have no idea where their opponent is at all. So she also does not know that there's an elevator train coming up. Or anything. She's not being able to pull any data from her opponent. So she's definitely having to make these decisions completely organically based on what she's seeing on the tower on her side.
Yeah, and that definitely adds some pressure and stress for sure. Being a previous tournament runner, not knowing where your opponent is at any given time, you have to assume because the seeds, because the tower is seeded, that means that your opponent is going to get all the same items as you have. They're going to encounter basically the same things you did. Now, given, you could go left and they went right type of thing, which can make a bit of difference. But you always have to assume that any mistake you made, your opponent didn't make, and it ends up costing you a lot more time. So you kind of always have to assume that your opponent's ahead of you, which can be a real mental strain. And being able to stay in that mindset of, it's okay, just play my game, do what I'm comfortable with. It can be really difficult to stay in that mindset when you're under that kind of pressure. Especially knowing that you have a bunch of people watching you at the same time as well. Shauny doing his classic AI1 strats. Very reliable, but a bit slow. And casually going up to floor 10 at 12 minutes. Not bad at all. So I guess another thing that we can talk about with this game, I'm sure you've noticed by now there are plenty of different traps that you can encounter that do various things like poison, sleep, paralysis, all of those kind of things. One of the things that I find a bit interesting about this game is that some of the traps actually don't really target Ko necessarily. Like obviously Ko will be the one that gets blinded, but it's not like a Final Fantasy blind. I know Shauny had actually touched on this earlier, but a lot of times games will have it be like, oh, when you get blinded, it lowers your hit accuracy or your dodge chance or something. In this game, blind actually affects the player. Your entire screen goes black, and I hope you memorized the layout of of the tower and where all the enemies were, because you're not going to be seeing them again anytime soon. And then there are traps like the reversal trap that'll flip your screen upside down, crack and upheaval traps. Yeah, that mess with the floor elevation. The crack trap in particular, for me recently has been just create a pit around Ko so you can't move at all and just kind of hope for the best. Yeah, trap can be particularly brutal in this game, and a lot of times they're going to be the way that you end up dying.
Oh, Plushie just bagged Kyun. I think he turned into a frog?
That'll do it, yeah.
Now she's got a U-boat right there that she has to deal with as well.
Yeah, and a Maneva, okay. This is still manageable. The Maneva is actually fairly blind and easy to juke. Oh, that was a bit of a misstep. The U-boat playing games there decided to move to the side instead of moving forward like it has been the entire time.
Yeah, something I've noticed is that U-boats always tend to, like, they have a magnetism towards the North Pole or something, is that whenever you walk into them, they will have a favor towards a certain direction if you're going in a certain way, but in all other scenarios, they will generally walk away from you and stay in front of you. Or they can actually go behind you as well. From that point, like, their movement is something that I always think. Whenever you start the U-boat dance, until you get them behind you, you definitely want to take it slow because you never know what they're really going to do.
There is a bit of a neat thing you can do with the U-boat dance. If you manage to get your familiar behind the U-boat and just kind of lure it like you normally would, just be walking away from any other enemy, the U-boat actually doesn't care about your familiar. It only wants to attack Ko, which I find kind of interesting because any other enemy probably wouldn't do that.
What I think is actually happening though, you're talking about with the U-boat being in between you and your familiar?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so your familiar gets the first move and moves on top of the U-boat, so it can no longer actually unsubmerge
Is
at
that
that
what
point.
causes
So
that?
what it, yes.
Huh. The more you know.
The more you know. That's what this game is. It's all about information, and I guess a lot of data, because in the end, you're dealing with random tower, random items, random everything. Every bit of knowledge on how things work is what you'll be using basically to survive in this game.
And that is something kind of interesting to note as well. We are still learning things about this game all the time. This game is by no means completely figured out. Now, granted, we do know a lot of tricks and neat things that you can do to be clever or be faster in some ways, but there's a lot of things that we still don't really fully understand. And there's always things that we can that we're still learning. Like I actually learned in that last match with Wuga and Deme that using a fire crystal after the tile immunity glitch just canceled it out. I had no idea.
I think it has something to do. I think that had something to do with Salamander being in the same position. Like, I think the tile immunity is still there, but Salamander kept walking onto Lady Deme's tile, and that has some effect on it. Literally I think it was about a week ago, Plushie herself discovered something for the community where if you're at an angle, throwing a sword or shield at a monster that is right next to the wall, it will guaranteed miss. It just like doesn't even register that there was a monster there for the sword to hit. And so yeah, we're still learning just all sorts of new things about this game. It's crazy, really.
And Shauny's still doing his AI 1 strats. I mean, if it works, right? If it works, don't change it.
That's true.
And Plushie with her insane lift luck. I love it.
And I think she did fail one lift, and then the volcano hit the familiar, but yeah, she more often than not is just getting out of situations with a single lift.
Now that is kind of neat that she can get out of the situation like that, but it also at the same time it can be pretty detrimental because you're not getting any experience towards leveling up. So you're going to be a lot squishier than you would be otherwise if you had fought everything once in a while. Now granted, that can be fixed somewhat easily. If you can get up to the Garuda and Picket floors, you just, you know, throw a fire or blaze charge at one or two of them. Especially if you don't have Qune out, you can really shoot up a bunch of levels pretty quickly that way.
Oh, looks here, Hex4F has actually confirmed that she felt 2 lifts in that scenario.
I mean, that's still
thinking...
basically 100%, right?
Yeah, that's basic. I think she definitely used up a bit of her luck prior to the match.
Oh, for sure. Oh my god, it was ridiculous, I swear. And it was actually on these same floors, so the volcanoes, the griffins, the dreamins, all of that stuff. Oh, and a walking casino again on Shauny's side. Are we gonna get anything good?
He just threw that loop away, didn't he?
Yeah, he didn't even check it. That could have been an exit or a trap loop. Throwing the hype crystal. Oh, I disapprove, Shauny. Oh, is it? Is it? Okay, okay. My heart skips a beat every time I see a fruit come out of one of those guys.
He immediately threw it back. And get something else. Seal 1. Yeah.
Yeah, Wooga has kind of ruined Barongs for me. If I don't get a roast from him, I get real sad.
Oh, plus she just lost her Qune to a griffin. Her lift failed.
And, okay,
she got it. Gone.
And she does not have a restore scroll this time, if I recall. So she's going to be going Qune-less for the rest of this run, or at least until she gets the restore scroll, which is unlikely at best.
I want to ask, has anyone found any eggs so far on this seed?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that vermilion egg is the Palumpa they started with. Which means that they should have a pretty decent chance of finding an egg relatively soon, and if they do find one on the next couple floors, it has a pretty decent chance of being 2 of the best familiars in an any percent run. So we'll likely see them hatch it immediately if that happens. And Septic, I believe you're the man to talk about those 2 familiars.
Why me? So one of them is Garuda, and the thing about Garuda is he is a get out jail free card in all scenarios. He can be targeted towards Ko to use his abduct ability and teleport himself along with Ko out of wherever they're at to a random room on the map. We have recently discovered how to make it completely safe. Used to be if you just directly target Ko, do the abduct, you could land next to a monster and take a hit for it. But if you walk into the abduct, that makes it all safe.
There is a niche situation where it's not. If you actually teleport to the same room, you can still get smacked, but the odds of that happening are fairly low, so...
Yeah, I think it's actually like teleporting next to the same monster that you were already next to. Because I think they have to choose to attack at that point.
Yeah.
And then the abduct happens, and then they still go through with the attack. But then the other monster that we would be looking for out of these eggs is U-Boat. And he is a reusable star glasses. He'll show the entire floor, show you where the elevator is, show you all the items. The only thing he won't be showing you is monster and trap locations. And so basically you can always know where you're going. The only real downside to him is it costs MP, a significant amount of MP, whereas Garuda Abduct actually, like, if you have 1 Pita Fruit, you're good for the rest of the run with Garuda. But you'll get like 5 or 6 uses out of the U-Boat before he runs out of MP. And then you'll need to feed him something to recover his MP. And you can actually use like even a Hazak herb to get to get 2 or 3 MP out of him. And that will still allow you to use his scout ability. So he's not really the MP issue isn't so much of an issue, but it does exist. You can actually just have some bad luck and not find things to recover it.
It's more of an annoyance factor that you have to feed him something every floor unless you get lucky with like a Leolum or something.
And Leolum is huge because Leolums give a no MP cost for 16 turns, and it persists through bagging the U-boat. So you bag them. Once you hit the elevator, you go to a new floor. You'll take them out of the bag, use his ability that will cost one of his turns towards a Leolum fruit effect. But then you could just rebag them again. You have basically 16 free floors for scouting.
Tony looking really good on his levels already. These pickets are doing him a lot of favors.
But they're also slowing him down a fair bit.
They are, yeah.
He tried to AI1 to picket didn't care.
We'll probably see him, yep, I was gonna say, we'll probably see him switch to water strats soon enough. And just like that, we have Water Cune, Stream Staff, Stream 1 busted out, and 50 damage on an Arachne. Oh man. However, now these pickets are going to be even more of a nuisance because they're wind-based, and his Cune is going to do even less damage to him.
Oh, plus she sees the Barong on her side, and you know...
She's a big fan of the Barong.
Huge fan. She ain't gonna let that thing go away.
No, yeah, she's gonna find some way to get that Barong by itself and use it for all it's worth. I know that's coming.
Yeah, right now she's thinking there's 3 monsters in here, but that
Ooh,
that
almost
acid rain is not even an option to her.
That sword should do it. Yeah, that was exactly enough
Wow.
HP. Exactly enough. Now she just needs to deal with that troll. I mean, the troll's liftable. That's that might have been a misstep.
How much HP does she?
She can okay. Of course she gets the lift. Come on, guys. Let's just chuck it away, and Casino is all hers now.
Now, she is obviously at this point taking a completely different amount of steps and directions that Shauny has, so her experience with the casino is going to be a completely different one. She could get the road trip.
And she has a handful of items that she can afford to just toss away. Oh, and the Barong. Oh, and a leather shield. That's nice. That's really nice.
She has no Kyun though. If she wants to, she could Pita Fruit this and just keep on rolling for something good. No, I guess.
Maybe she just wants to get it down a little bit, just in case something shows up.
Yeah,
I kind of would have.
HP.
I kind of would have liked to see her gather up some, like, those coins or something. But she does have, like, the red sand and stuff. That's no big loss to lose, so. Crystal? Water crystal? If she had a Cune, that'd be good. And, yeah.
She's like, wait, why am I keeping this?
Yeah. Oh, a Holy Bell? Yes, that's a wonderful item. That's wonderful. And
Shauny's just now hitting 420.
Probably get rid of that stream one now.
She's going after a coin.
Going for the coin. Ooh, Shauny hitting a slow trap. That could be pretty bad if he encounters anything. And just another paralyzed one for troubles. She does have high ground now, though. Opting to not bother with it. It's probably a good choice because the Barong does have a nice chunk of HP.
Yeah, 96 HP. She was hitting for 7 to 8. Like that would have taken several turns of swinging, and not actually something she couldn't have gone for. She could have brought the Barong over by the elevator and been ready to leave if something showed up, but it would have still been a time loss.
Yeah, exactly.
I respect the decision not to worry about the experience there. She's already Cune-less. She's not going to be wanting to fight or encounter things too much.
Ooh, and an egg. I don't think Shauny found this egg. That could be big. That could make the difference here. And she has a holy bell. She can get that no problem at all.
Curious how she's going to do this, because she also has the fire crystal. She's going to go ahead and get rid of this picket.
That's gonna be a nice chunk of experience too. I think you probably just go for the fire crystal.
Ah, she is fire crystal.
That's not a bad play, especially
I
with them all
like that
sleeping.
play.
Yeah, you're not really
She
gonna
makes
get a
her
ton of
walk
use
away
out
from
of.
that
Yeah,
maneuver.
walk double back, let it. Yes, that's probably the most use she was gonna get out of that fire crystal anyway. So, I can get behind that. Oh, and it
Oh
missed.
no.
She does. She still has. She has. You know, she has a lot of
Electric
supplies. She has a
stunner.
lot of different options here.
Yes,
And
yes,
just
yes. Now
opting to
she just needs to make
de-aggro.
sure.
That is by far the best option there.
Yeah, but he's still in the room, I think. I don't think she let him leave. Or maybe he did. That was good.
That was well played, yeah, I agree. And I imagine she's gonna look for the elevator and immediately start hatching that egg.
Actually, I do think she has truth glasses, so she might just truth it, find out if it's worth her time. Throw him behind you. He's in the
Of
room.
course it's worth the time. On an egg on this floor? Oh, it's gotta be a Garuda. Come on.
It's always a Garuda. Oh, Shauny found a very rare formation in the tower's generation of the floor. There was actually two intersecting corridors, and one of them was completely 2 spaces high over the other intersecting corridor. So like it's a one-way corridor.
You don't. Oh no, don't. Oh god, that. Whew. That very easily could have been a Maneva with the transform one. Yeah, he turned into a crystal there. Oh man, she's giving me all kinds of heart problems with this. She can turn. She could have maybe turned one of those trolls around. I don't know if it necessarily would have worked as intended.
She would have had to make a little more space so that she doesn't keep the aggro of the Botro. Oh yeah, she's got to deal with this. That Maneva or oh no, that's a
the sword troll. Yeah. Oh.
44. He has 2 HP left.
And she doesn't have. Maybe she put the stream wand on. She could do that with the high ground. She might even be able to do that with just the high ground alone. I'd really like to, I would really like to see her heal herself somehow if she can. She's sitting on really low HP right now. Oh, and the Palumpa hitting the slow trap. Oh, poor little guy. Yeah, those pickets did slow Shauny down quite a bit, actually. Still making decent time though, and a binding ball. Oh no. Oh no.
Will it work?
And he has the mirror shield on though. Oh, there is still a chance that it could have hit him. This definitely weighted in his favor though to repel it back.
Yeah, I do believe the mirror shield's effect is a 75% chance of activation, or it might be 80%. If anybody has that specific number.
I want to say it's like 5 and 8 or something like that.
5 and 8, that one I haven't even heard.
I don't know. I was talking to Sand Knight the other day about it. I don't remember the exact number, but it is pretty heavily weighted in your favor. And the immediate use of the exit loop, very nice.
Pickets.
Oh, nice. Okay, yep, get rid of the decurse scroll. That's always nice. And she has a troll sword.
Doesn't truth that egg. Oh, she's preparing for both. That's
yeah, exactly.
That's
yep,
good.
Very nicely done. And take a step back.
I just go for less or smack him until he decides to do it.
Now did... Oh, I missed it. Did Shauny find this egg, or did he put that egg there for the Viper lift?
I'm not
I
sure.
imagine with it being that far... No, it was the Vermilion. He put that egg there. Yeah, both runners doing some really incredible plays here. That was a bit of a risky move on Shauny's part. He could have easily been hit with a bind spell through that corner there.
Plus, he's using fireballs against Arachne. I don't much like that because Arachne is a water monster. At least it only used 2 fireballs, but it can be quite easy for it to take 3 against a water monster.
Yeah, and she is getting fairly close to the floors where all the monsters are going to be wind, and it's going to be highly useful. And basically her only escape out of, or only way of killing things on the floors that Shauny is on right now.
Go down right, go down right. She just aggroed the,
No, yeah, the spider's going to be on her. Both of the pickets already have items, though. They left her alone. Now she just needs to deal with that spider. Probably going to go for a lift.
27.
She can take more. Okay, she could take one more.
She knows where the exit is.
That's probably a Maneva there. Shauny making quick work. Oh, and Shauny actually finding an egg.
Okay.
Truthing it, and it's just a stealth.
I really want to see check her egg because it could be so good.
Yeah, I'd really want to see her truth or hatch the... Well, ideally truth it, because there's not really anything else she would really use the truth glasses on. Maybe a ball or something, but... And we saw this. We saw the elevator on the spin there. It needs to go up towards the middle, I believe. For going familiarless for this long, she's actually doing quite well.
This is something I noticed when I've been coaching her, is that she's built and got the mind of an 80% runner. Much like me, she doesn't like Kyun. She doesn't like having to deal with that extra body to keep alive. And how slow, like, even just basically attacking with Kyun is slower than most other actions you could be taking, so she has definitely shown that she's got the 80% runner mindset.
Only actually opting to fight the snowman.
She truthed the she truthed her binding ball, which in this situation I actually don't hate.
Yeah, because with a lot of the things coming up on the floor she's about to go to are going to be liftable. And with the way her lift luck has been going, having that binding ball identified and knowing exactly how many charges are in it at any given time, definitely something worth knowing. And the nice dodge, yeah. I really, really want to see her hatch this egg, though.
I'm throwing you on this.
It's killing me. Oh, it's killing me. I hope that she's aware of what floors you can find the Garuda and U-boat on.
Oh, slow trap. Don't take it.
You don't go up with a slow trap. Okay. All is well.
She knows her stuff. That is something she is definitely showing off right now. Is that she has definitely picked up on the tactics and how everything works in the game. Yeah, there's that weird formation there.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean there. That is a weird floor pattern there. You don't see that very often. Occasionally you can have a room that's actually like that where you can't go in that that entrance.
Oh, is it gonna be a heartbreaker? Oh, it's just
it's just the wee dog. Okay. Still, oh, that could have been so bad though.
If that was me, that would have been a Garuda.
Yeah, I know.
For sure.
This Septic is known for chucking his Garuda eggs. Shauny in a bit of a spot here. Nothing he can't handle, but not something he really wants to deal with either. And the reversal trap not doing him any favors, that's for sure. This is also something I want to point out. Shauny is adamant about never changing his camera angle. And we just saw him do that like 3 or 4 times right there.
Wait, what
Losing
happened to
Q.
Kuhn on his side? He just lost it?
Yeah, he lost Q to the Mandara there. I believe it was a calculated loss though, so he could bind and lose the aggro there. Very nice
Yeah, but
use
it's
of
Johnny. I figured he would have went ahead and gone for the Tumna glitch there. Use
yeah, that
Kuhn in
is
way.
a good point. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Luga's saying Binding Ball landed Kuhn 3 steps away next to the Mandara. So he was holding Kuhn. Which means he was
Oh,
already
okay.
set up for the Tumna glitch. Oh, he is putting himself into a scenario, isn't
Yeah, he is. Luckily, oh, okay.
he?
That's a bit unfortunate. The he can still get out of this. I mean, he's gonna have a tail on him, but
That's not what you want on these floors.
no, not at all. Binding ball. I like this. I like this play.
Yeah, it gives him some space.
That's
That
gonna lose the
makes
aggro
things
of
a
one
lot
of them.
safer.
Give him some space on the other. And what are you gonna do with this snowman? I don't know about that one so much. I probably would have let it get a little bit closer before I bind it. Oh no, that's awful when you find what a go up trap in a situation like that and it doesn't go off and you step away from it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but he found the elevator immediately.
Yeah, okay, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. In that situation, I really would have been tempted to use something to double back those couple steps and just could use that go up trap. And
So she's here trying to figure out how she wants to deal with this Viper. She just light seeded it. I do like that idea.
she'll
Still
do a
gonna
bit
take
more.
2 fire.
Yeah, she'll do a significantly more damage with it being fire element than water with her spell balls. Although her 1 fireball is out of charges. Hopefully she has 2 in this because she's definitely gonna need it.
I think she might have only used this fireball once before.
I don't understand. Why did she flame it and then now she's thrown
Maybe
it
she
away?
thought it was only going to use 1 charge, but she should know that that's gonna, like, the second charge would kill. But maybe she's a little nervous about, maybe she has used it more than I noticed.
Yeah, there is also that possibility she's trying to save it for the wind floors because she is getting really close to those as well.
Shauny going up to 30 on low HP. He's got 24.
And right next to an elevator, okay.
Oh, he's
And a
got the
medicinal herb. Yeah, he's looking alright. He's looking alright.
But his, hatching the plump? Revan, explain?
I can only imagine. I imagine he's hatching this so he can
Return glitch.
yeah, the tile immunity. If he finds another
Or no, he's gonna fuse it with the stealth.
yeah, he could use it for plushie down.
Oh, that's a GG.
I think he with hatching the second egg, he's probably going for some kind of fusion shenanigans. But he could also use it just for the tile immunity, sending it home. So unfortunately, that is, well, I guess fortunately in some cases, that is another win for Shauny. Plushie it will be out of the tournament from here on. She played incredibly well though, and is to be commended for her efforts. We'll see if both of the runners are up for a friendly third, and if not, we'll see if we can get them in here for a bit of an interview.
Just
It looks like he might be going for... What is he doing? I mean, he could have hatched them just to have 2 tile immunities, because he is getting pretty close to the top, so that's basically 2 guaranteed floors. It'd be incredibly slow doing it that way, but I know Shauny is quite a big fan of the tile immunity strat. Yeah, exactly, Gene Freak. Plushie did do really, really well. So what is the word, Septic? Are we getting a friendly third today?
it looks like we are.
Oh, lovely, lovely. And that poor stealth is done. Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate having your own stealth. The stealth's ability is that it can go invisible. And while it works quite well against the player at times, especially if you don't see it disappear, however, it does not work at all against the AI. And yep, here we go, the tile immunity.
Oh, did he not fuse with the...
No, he didn't. He was running around with the stealth and it died to Tyrant there. But Shauny's showing off the tile immunity. There's actually a few ways you can go about doing that. The way that he just showed is holding the familiar over your head and releasing it. You can also do it with a Tumna, where you turn your familiar into a frog and then bag it. Or a less commonly used one, because it's so rare to find it. You can actually do the same thing with a roche fruit. Unfortunately, you can't do that with Kuhn because he won't eat the roche fruit and turn into an egg, but anything else that's liftable, you can feed a roche fruit to, turn it into an egg, bag it, you'll be tile immunity, and you can actually hatch it on that spot. So in certain situations, you can actually, if you're familiar, had fallen behind in levels, you can actually kind of update your familiar in that sense, turn it back into an egg and rehatch it at whatever level Co is at, and make it useful again if you're high enough level. But the roche fruit is so uncommon that it's not really a viable thing to do. But it is a neat thing, neat little tidbit of information. And we're looking at 7552 on both.
Seeds are confirmed.
All right. We should have them being started any second now. Let's see if they have any interesting names this go around, or if maybe we'll even see a glitched entry. I know you were saying Plushie's actually pretty fond of going Cumulus, so we might actually see a glitched entry from her. Maybe.
I do think there might be a possibility of that if she decides to. Usually, since it's a friendly third, she might feel comfortable just go ahead and ignoring Kuhn and showing off a little bit of the tech on the side. But I also just don't know, because maybe she'll want to just try to make sure the run goes well and actually give Shauny a real fight for his money on the third.
That has been it has been a nice little I guess a guilty pleasure, I guess you could call it, with the with the Yeet name. Is that a sign of things to come. Seeing the occasional glitched entry, it's always nice because all the top runners for any percent run Cuneless, because in the any percent vanilla run where we're not using the seeded towers or any quality of life things, when you pick up Cune, you lose roughly 1.5 to 2 minutes with all the tutorial stuff that you do on floor 1 that you can completely skip if you don't pick Cune up. But it does.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
in a general any percent run, you can get to the elevator without Cune in roughly 1:05. That's roughly what I run at. With Cune and having to deal with the tutorials, it's like 2 minutes 45 seconds before you're on floor, before you're hitting the elevator. So it's a pretty decent time save. Definitely only really good for trying to get the best of times, because losing Cune is a major resource to lose.
Yeah, it definitely makes the run a lot more volatile. It's not super bad on like the first couple floors where you're trying to build up a little bit of an inventory, because the fireball that you get from the starter items can pretty easily deal with anything on those floors. But once you start getting into 6 through 9, when a lot of the monsters start turning into water, the blooms, especially the U-boats, they can all be real issue, and especially if you don't get any good items, especially a good shield or a handful of useful items that you can use to circumvent all of those things. Getting to just floor 10 alone can actually be quite a challenge. And we did actually see a glitched entry on Plushie's side. I'm sure she's gonna have a lot of fun with this run. I've seen her do a few Cuneless runs, and they're they're always an exciting watch. And I didn't. Did you catch what Shauny named his Cune? Or did he name his Cune? I actually didn't. Oh, hi chat. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I see it there.
Yeah, and actually a kind of an interesting thing on Plushie's side. She actually taught herself how to do glitched entry just from watching people play.
Yeah, she was watching me do it. I was showing it all to her. Like, she said she wanted to break this game whenever she was showing interest in speedrunning. So I was like, I could show you how to break the game. And yeah, she literally watched me do it once, and from there, offline, she messed around and figured it out on her own.
And is that an early fire sword on Shawnee's side? It looks like it has. Yeah, it's a fire sword. It's got the red handle on it. That's a nice find. It's
That
a
is a
fairly
very nice
yeah,
find.
it's a fairly strong sword at 5 attack power, and it has the elemental advantage with his Cune. So he's gonna be doing a nice chunk of extra damage with that.
That's actually something we didn't specifically touch on. Like, the wands have, like a wooden wand even gives that 25% boost to the mixture magic damage. The elemental swords, if you have a fire sword and a fire familiar, you get that 25% bonus mixture magic damage with it as well. It's not as good as the Scarlet Wand for that 50% boost, but it is a temperable weapon. There is a temperable wand in the trained wand that can also like kind of replace the fire sword and is also not rustable, but the fire sword is still really good for the same concept.
Plus she's struggling with her inputs there just a little bit. I can definitely say I've done the same. Recently.
Oh, she's going full 20% strats. It looks like she's gonna see elevator, take elevator, and not really worry about searching too much for items. It's a very volatile way to play, but it is definitely the way to get the top times.
Oh, and an ice shield. She's not really being rewarded too much with the weak ball, but the ice shield is definitely one of the better shields you can find. As far as elemental shield goes, ice is probably the best one to have for the most part. And getting taunted with a restore scroll on floor 4.
Oh, at some point she picked up a pillar ball though, so that extra set of charges from the pillar ball that gives some comfort to getting through this. I would like to see personally a binding ball or something to help deal with the floor 6 through 9. Because if she don't get good elevator luck there, she's gonna waste a lot of fireballs to get through those water monsters.
Yeah, even with pillar being as strong as it is, it's still going to take multiple charges to deal with any of them. And she can actually deal with that flame really easy with that ice shield on. It basically do no damage. Oh, and the Palumpa on it. Okay.
Yeah, well, she's fairly new to the game, to running it. So it makes sense to me that she doesn't automatically think about the ice shield in that scenario. I actually, if you ignore the ice shield, I really like the fact that she used the Palumpa there, because monsters this early aren't going to give a whole ton of experience, so you really want to try and get those fireballs to last as long as possible, so that you can
Yeah.
get the big bulk experience later. So that's probably what she was thinking about with using the Palumpa egg bomb there.
I can only assume that she's looking for maybe a decurse scroll before she tries the ice shield, just because she doesn't want to be stuck with it potentially. Oh, that's actually her second ice shield. Okay, I missed that one.
She just chucked her sword.
And there's the decurse.
There's
Is
the decurse.
she gonna use the ice shield? I would really like to see her use it. That's a nice chunk of defense. And with the monsters on this floor, that's gonna give her elemental advantage against most of them.
Yeah, I wonder if she's like all too worried about cyclones with the ice shield. But like now that she has a decurse, there's no reason not to at least try and pick it up, put it on. Oh, there she goes. She put on. It is.
And it is cursed. That sucks a little bit.
She is de-leveling this balloon to nothing. I can't tell you what HP that thing has anymore.
No, not at all. It normally has 27, 28.
28.
Oh, the one
Oh, it's only
damage
hitting her
feels
for
so
one.
good. It feels so good.
15 HP. It had less than 20.
And the elevator.
And she goes.
So it looks like Shauny may have not actually had a cursed shield, but it looks like he hit a rust trap at some point with the -1 fire sword. Unless the fire sword was also cursed and I missed that. But I don't think it was. Plushie actually has a small lead.
She could do the
But
juke.
Shauny is looking quite strong with the ice shield and the fire sword, with his Kyun being level 5 already as well.
I do want to point out, Plushie did just do a Maneva juke. She did one earlier. We didn't really get to touch on it. Manevas are blind. They can only see if you end your turn next to them. They can aggro. They still have the same rules inside of rooms where if you're in the room with them, they will aggro. But to de-aggro a normal monster takes 6 tiles difference. With Maneva, it's only 3, I believe. But in this situation, the Maneva didn't aggro because the Maneva moved next to her rather than her moving next to it. So she was able to just skip on by him.
Oh, and the poison strats. I like it. Being normally, I wouldn't really be too thrilled with it because poison is essentially a slow trap. But being Cuneless, poison suddenly becomes a lot more of a viable option. And the
I
way
actually
that
like that she's using this weak ball.
yeah, and the way that she had used it actually, because of it having an AoE effect, she actually just shot it in a straight line and knew it was going to hit because of the radius. So she actually didn't have to put herself into a vulnerable situation and could let the bloom actually damage itself getting to her without having to waste any unnecessary turns. That was well done. And like you said, the weak ball, you definitely have to use what you're given in an any percent without Qn. So while she is getting less experience, she's also actually being able to take out these enemies with no weapon and no familiar. So you really you do what you can with what you got, and she's doing pretty well. And she even has a bit of a lead on Shauny at this point, so it's working
And
out pretty well.
Johnny's looking like he's having a rough time with Kuhn, being chased around by all these monsters.
Yeah, and sometimes that's just how it goes. It is worth pointing out, because this is the first time it's really become relevant. The towers may actually be slightly different because Shawnee actually has a familiar out, and Plushie does not. So that will affect the outcome of some things, not necessarily everything. It might be the difference between like a trap going off or not. Um, if they find a wand, one of them could be a like a stream wand, the other one could be a paralyzed wand. Generally, it's gonna not affect too much. But oh, and the synced elevators, that was nice. But there will be a slight bit of difference because of the lack of familiar on Plushie's side. And the
He's
blue
got a.
sand for luck.
That's basically all it's worth. Every point of defense that you have on Ko, or every point of defense in general for damage calculation, is minus half of a damage. So you need 2 blue sands to reduce what monsters deal to you by 1 damage, and that is not percentage. That is direct 1 damage. So like later on in the floors where an enemy is hitting you for 30, 40 damage, that 1 definitely no longer really becomes relevant.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of runners will tend to prefer either the leather or the mirror shield. The leather shield actually increases your dodge chance. I want to say it's by like 15 or 20%.
15.
Yeah, so just outright taking 0 damage instead of 68 is a lot a lot better than say a diamond plus 5 or something. As cool as it feels having it equipped and all of that, it's not really going to be as helpful as you would expect it to be or want it to be on the higher floors. Now, granted, having said that though, the higher defense shields like the diamond and the elemental shields are definitely worthwhile on the earlier floors when you don't have a lot of HP to use and the enemies aren't doing a ton of damage to begin with. If you can negate, 2 damage out of the 6 that you would normally take from something like a cyclone or whatever, that can be a lot more useful than getting the occasional dodge chance early on. But that very quickly swaps around. And we've actually seen the potential of the mirror shield last round with Shawnee. Basically having no fear of anything with a spell. There was several times he walked headfirst into a block's bind spell and basically had no fear because the odds are so heavily weighted in the mirror shield's favor to reflect the spell. But I don't think he actually got hit by any spell. since he put that on.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I definitely haven't seen it happen.
Yeah, so before I had started speedrunning this, the mirror shield was my go-to just because of enemies like the Griffin here, especially the clowns. They have that nasty ability to completely de-level you, and they always seem to hit it right when you're about to level up. It's infuriating, and being able to just throw it right back in their face is so satisfying. But having been a speedrunner for this game for a little while now, I have come to realize that the Leather Cartel, as they're called, is definitely the way to go. And another poison ball on Shauny's side. That's not gonna help a lot unless he kind of lures it away a little bit, but the
We have
extra
an egg
damage
on.
definitely helps.
We
An
have
egg on
a.
12, 13?
I think she's on floor 12 right now. That could very well be either Garuda, U-boat, or even Clown. Clown is something. Have we talked about Clown?
I don't think so. Why don't you go ahead and break it down for us?
Yeah, so Clown is a really good monster for hatching as well. It's a lot slower than what U-boat or Garuda provides. But what he does provide is he's a wind monster, which we generally do not like. But his spell is ranged. You can actually command mixture magic and do damage from a distance, killing anything before it even gets close to you to actually be a threat.
Ooh, and a
And
blinder ball.
it also has a passive effect where it gains double spell levels. So even if you're level 5, that thing has a level 10 spell and is ready to go put out the damage for you.
Yeah, and one of one of the nice things about the clown spell lowdown is that it doesn't actually matter what weapon you have. Now this can be kind of detrimental as well. We've been talking a lot about the runners wanting to find particular wands because it boosts your damage with the mixture magic. However, the clown's mixture magic actually doesn't take your weapon into consideration at all. It's solely based off of spell level and elemental advantage, disadvantage, all that good stuff. So in some ways it can actually be better because you don't really have to focus on finding a particular weapon or anything like that. And it has the ranged effect, which is actually a fairly good range. I believe it has like 6 or 7 tile range to it. And it also functions the same way as Kuhn does. We can just feed it a seed, change its element, and all of a sudden his spell that was doing 13 damage can be doing, 30 something or 40 something, depending on what it is. And I guess another thing we can point out, the range spells also have a nice ability that if you hit something with it before it's aggroed onto you, you actually have a chance to turn it around, so you don't even have to deal with it. So there's a lot of things going for the clown and its mixture magic. Unfortunately, it is a bit slower than using like Kuhn or whatever, because to get the ranged effect, you actually have to command it to do the mixture magic every single time. So you do waste a little bit of time menuing to get that, but it does add a bit of extra safety. And with that, Shauny actually took a bit of. Oh, he actually takes a floor lead
Yeah,
with
she's right on the
Plushie
same
right on his
elevator he
tail.
just
Oh,
took.
look at
Yeah.
this room. Look at this room. Okay.
I think Plushie might like this room.
Yeah, I think she's going to be quite fond of this room. And that shield is going to help her.
I'm bringing you
Yep.
with me.
Yep. Okay. That's probably not how I would have dealt with that room, but it definitely works.
I like it.
Yeah, with her only
It's
being level 4, I'm
Plushie.
not even sure. I'm not even sure she would have been able to kill that Garuda in one hit with just a spell ball. But it definitely would have gotten her quite a few levels. She probably would have hit at least level 6 or 7 off of that.
She's level 4, so it might have required 2 uses. She did get an exit loop and a star glasses out of this bronze, so she's going to be going straight towards some elevators here.
Yep, speak of the devil. And just like that, Plushie actually takes the lead back from Shauny. And an egg on 17.
Oh,
Please,
hatch 'em.
please hatch this egg. Oh, no, actually better yet, truth it. Truth it.
Yeah, truth it.
Okay.
Wee dog.
Forget
the
it.
other one.
Forget it. Yeah, truth the other egg. I believe that was also a potentially good one. Volcano. Oh, yeah.
That
yeah.
hurts.
Neither one of them are particularly good, but they do. Well, the volcano maybe not so much, because it does have the rock ability. But though Wee Dog will make a great egg bomb at some point. Unless, can it throw the meat as an egg bomb? Oh no! No, the Wee Dog egg. Oh, that hurts. Oh, I got hurt twice on that egg. Oh man.
I'm not sure if an egg bomb from a wee dog could generate the meat.
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure because it is technically an ability, whereas like the volcano rock thing is also an ability. So I guess that's the potential that it could throw a meat, which would be awful.
And another exit loop. She is stocked for finding elevators. You can't make that, I don't think. No.
No, she's not going to be able to shoot that one. She does have... Well, she has a blinder ball. It feels bad using a blinder ball on a Maneva, though. They're already blind. You could always leam it as well. Oh,
I like the thought. I like
yeah,
it.
it was a good thought, yeah. But unfortunately, the Maneva actually wasn't looking in that direction before its turn, so it actually didn't copy the item. If she had put the item right next to her right from where she was right there, the Maneva actually would have transformed into it, I believe.
Manevas are weird because, like, even if they can't aggro to you, if they land next to you, they will look at you. So even that would still be the same scenario, basically, where... Oh, she needs some medicinal. It'll basically be the same scenario where she wouldn't have a place to put it to make it transform.
Leave a fruit it, leave a fruit it.
Oh, yeah, leave a fruit.
Oh, she's just standing on a coin, though. Oh, that ice shield is not doing her any favors here. That's why she's taking so much damage. Okay, she got the lift. Wooga confirming in chat, Wee Dog will always hit. So that is nice. That is a nice confirmation to have. Oh, Plushie actually, can she take off the shield? She did have a decurse scroll, but did she use it?
Oh, she should have waited one more turn.
Oh no, she's still cursed. She can't take it off.
Yeah, she still has the decurse scroll, I do believe.
She's really gonna have to deal with this.
This is fine. She's got fireballs. These are gonna... Oh, wow.
Oh, she's so low leveled it didn't even work. I
wish she would have used the pillar there.
Yeah, the pillar might have been pillar might have just been just enough. Yeah.
Just burn it again.
Yeah, it's at this point. With two pickets there and that ice shield, she can't take this. Just she's gonna have to use her resources here. Hopefully, with the level ups from this first one, she'll be able to kill the other one in one hit.
Oh, definitely. She's getting 4 levels.
Yeah,
4
that
levels off of that.
All of that HP too.
For 2 damage.
And the pillar ball, just to be sure. Yeah, that's way more than enough. Yeah, she wasn't taking any chances there.
And Wooga making a very good point. Being level 4 this high up in the tower is insane. That is actually a sign that the run is going pretty good for you because you're not having to expend your fireballs and such. But it's also very dangerous because, as y'all saw, Picket's hitting twice per turn for 5-6 damage.
Yeah,
they are even a threat if you're that low level.
And if a Picket's a threat, yeah, you know something's wrong. Or really going really well, like Septic said. It is kind of the mark of a good any % run. Shauny finding wait, that's probably one he just pulled out of his inventory. He's always doing something right as I look away from his screen. That's if I had to guess, that's probably his Palimpa egg.
Gene Freak never seen damage that high from pickets. Yeah, I've seen it like once or twice. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. It doesn't happen too
And
often that you're that low level.
just like that, Plushie is caught up again in the same room.
This is kind of a scary room too.
It is, yeah. She does have an egg that she can bait the Viper with, and she does have fireballs to kill the unicorn. Unfortunately, if that spider wakes up though, she doesn't really have an effective way to deal with it. But she could always blind it, I guess. Take a hit and blind it.
I
The
would have
double
liked to
hit,
seen
the double hit on the poison there, not bad.
I would have liked to seen her do the egg, put it down first, but yeah, pillar him. I'm not even 100% sure if she's even considering that the egg
Oh.
bait. At this point, she'll have to throw it across the room. She doesn't have that extra body from Kyun to actually manipulate its movement.
Oh, it's not good. Oh wow. Okay.
Oh, that was
that was
dangerous in
that
so
was
many levels.
really close to like perfect damage.
Oh, you
In
poisoned
fact,
it.
oh yeah, yep. She's not gonna be able to. Okay, I mean that works. It's still gonna be aggro to her after she leaves, but with the poison effect, it's actually down to 1 hit point now. If she runs into that one again, she should be able to kill it. Now, while this room does look scary with all the double coins everywhere, there are no Maneva on this floor. Hopefully she's aware of that. It doesn't look like she's looking pretty freaked out right now. And I can't really blame her for that because the Maneva transform Manevas are scary. But yeah, there are no Manevas on this floor. And the elevator's right there. She can catch up to Shauny as soon as she deals with this wee dog. I think he just blind. Yeah, I think he just blinded in this situation. I don't think she'd be able to deal with that with just one fireball spell, and those are getting really precious at this point.
Oh, going for the lift with an ice shield.
Yeah, that could have been real bad. She probably wouldn't have died from it, but she would have been really close.
She's got 30 something
Oh
HP.
no, yeah, she got like 5 HP left. She's gonna have to pillar at this point.
Pillar it, then deal with the spider, which might need a blinder charge for that too.
Oh no, please don't land. This is gonna be bad if it lands. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
She has to pick up the spider and go for it.
Yeah, this. Oh, and unfortunately that's it for Plushie. That was a really good Cuneless run though. So we'll get some invites in here. I believe this sends the invite. Yeah, we'll get them in here for some questions. If chat has any questions they'd like to ask either runner, feel free to let them send them in chat, and we'll read them off as they come up. But they should be here momentarily, and that was a really strong showing from both runners. To be fair.
Hello.
Welcome, Shauny. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you. I'm glad I can get to floor 40 still.
Yeah, it was a solid 40 climb. And welcome, Plushie.
GG.
That was a very strong Cuneless showing there. Congratulations. That is an accomplishment to be sure.
Yay.
So what's with the third seed? Why is it so evil? Like the
What do you
first
mean?
two are like really
I thought it
nice and like good supplies, and the third one's like nothing at all.
I will defer you to Currybot.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Carrybot
I
has all
understand
the
about it.
answers.
Third one was pretty smooth. I just made a really bad misstep and misjudgment in where the wall and the walkway was.
Yeah,
I'm-
I really liked your use of poison strats on this third seed plushie. The without have you went swordless for a lot of it, so the extra poison damage actually made your climb a bit easier.
It's a
And
really slow strat, but you work with what you've got.
yeah, exactly. And we were talking about you know, you got to work with what the tower gives you, and sometimes it just doesn't want you to succeed, so you got to make the best of what you got. But the way that you used it, you used the AoE of it very effectively several times. Being able to hit things in around corners with the AoE effect, or hitting multiple targets with it on that last floor with the Viper and Unicorn. I
Throwing
really
an
like
item.
the AoE there.
I appreciate that. Throwing an item at a wall is my worst enemy. Throwing poison at a wall is a little bit more comfortable and actually works.
Yeah. So Shauny, I believe it was second seed. You had actually ended up hatching 2 eggs on like 31-ish, something around there. Were you planning on fusing them, or were they
I didn't
just
pick up the blue color.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if you had found it or not. So was it just for in tile invincibility because you
Yeah.
were getting so close?
Yeah, if worst comes to worst, I wasn't near glaciers. If I needed a couple extra floors, I had the time technically to earthquake a couple. So I was kind of banking on the fact that, well, maybe worst comes to worst, I can edge out a win that way. So it's not the most graceful way of winning, but it is technically a way of winning.
I'm
So
like, same with sustain. I'm like, y'all had time to hatch eggs. I had monster trains because I make bad decisions in life.
we all make bad decisions, truthfully.
Oh, they were beautiful. I had all these kind of buddies behind me. They're just not the good kind of friends. I was hanging out with a bad crowd.
Mm. Yeah, my sure, why not? My horrible luck almost came to an end on it's like floor 19 on the first seed. Is I got hit by a paralysis trap next. It didn't activate while I was carrying Queenie,
Ah,
and I'm like, oh. It's like I'm happy that didn't activate because I would have died. No, it was on floor 9 with the U-boats. That's what it was, and I was like, okay, cool. That could have just straight up ended me there, but surprised no traps kind of got me in the end. So I'll take that.
Yeah, the traps were pretty lenient as far as traps can go in this game. For all of the seeds, really, there wasn't really any particularly bad or super scary events of like poison or paralysis or sleep or anything like that. There was a few warp traps that could have been kind of bad, depending.
I had
on
one
how,
very lucky one that teleported me one space away, and then I had one which I had to. Thankfully, it was early enough in the tower that Queenie would have survived no matter what.
I didn't find those at all.
Oh, lucky you! I got hit by 2 of them. I think that's a good
Nice.
climb.
I had
That's
some
fun.
naps. I picked up a couple buddies along the way and threw them.
Plushie, I think you may have given me a heart condition from all of your lift luck.
Yeah, that's something I don't go for like at all.
And you're finding eggs on like floor 12 through 20-ish and not hatching them immediately. Oh, please hatch them.
What, did you not
They
want
didn't-
to dog egg this run?
As well.
They didn't have
Right.
anything good in them.
No, they didn't ever had any, they didn't end up ever having anything good in them, but oh man, the odds of them having something good in them between
Is
on those
minor.
floors. No, it's basically 100%. Come on.
Well, I did start to try to hatch one when I got confused. I was like, well, I got nothing better to do. Let's sit on an egg.
Yeah, it's this this set of seeds has honestly been pretty good. I don't mind it. Definitely better than the Sandite seeds from last time, I'll say. I blame Sandite on that one because oh god, those are bad.
Those elevator trains getting past the Krakens were too freaking kind. I was like, oh
Mhm.
sweet, this was beautiful. But this means he is already at floor 1000. So
Yeah, it's the same thing that Fee taught me when she was doing these fixed seed runs. Is if I found something, I must assume that you found something.
Mhm.
And the second seed, I got like or no, for the first seed, I had a good selection of fire seeds. Okay. Sorry, light seeds and sea seeds, and I found both the stream one and the scarlet ones. I'm like, oh, I am happy. Like I could not ask for a better cycle of how I normally like to play.
That sounds like how you like to go. Very nice.
Did you enjoy my weak ball strats, commentators?
Oh yeah, the scout ball. Yeah.
Yeah,
Scout balls are good.
yeah. Weak
we
ball
act-
does have a purpose.
Yeah, we actually saw Plushie get good use out of a weak ball and the third seed as well. Actually using it to hit enemies instead of scouting, but you know, to each their own. If it works, you know.
I used to scout at the end.
I don't like the weak ball at all, but I have to admit, if you could shoot it inside of a room and see completely inside of it, it's great. And
Or
it
you
has a
can shoot
way
it into
too
the
long
open
range.
hallways too.
Sorry, pardon?
You can shoot it in the open hallways too, and it just passes over, goes to
Oh
another.
no, I try to aim from the hallways into the rooms.
I know. I do it different. I didn't have a room to shoot into. I had to deal with an arachne.
I dealt with one too many spiders in the second seed. I think I had like I transformed just into water, and then I started like having like 5 spiders in the hallway or something. Wasn't keen about that. I'm not one for spiders to begin with, let alone that many spiders in one go.
I don't like spiders.
I don't remember what seed it was. It was whatever seed that you had gotten the 40 climbs. I guess it was the first.
First
seed.
one.
There was a particularly nasty room that you had spawned in, and you actually got out of it with just a single holy scroll. That was very well played, Shauny. And then you ended up getting a
yes,
level out of it on top of it, just as an added bonus. That was great.
Yeah, I did not think I would be able to. That was entirely improv and in the wrong way possible. So, but yeah, I was kind of banking on how could I get out of this? Okay, that was a misstep. Okay, I'm done. I'm trying to see how far I can go. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I can do if I have the room tiles and stuff like that, and though. Using holy scrolls and whatnot for my advantage has always been a fun thing to do. And it's like the last tournament seed I did, I got a monster den, and I got out of it with a single holy scroll, taming a kraken, and then getting one hit, going out the hallway, leading all the monsters out behind me, going and bottlenecking them, throwing a confusion scroll, using that as a bottleneck, and then leaving. And like I really appreciate now just the lingering scroll effects more than ever because they're extremely useful, or they're just fun to use and find viable ways of surviving.
Holy Scroll is downright broken. You have a friend for the whole match. It's so adorable.
It is, especially if you throw out a Minerva on the right frame and they double in size for no reason. I love that. That's great.
Yeah, the big Minerva. Okay, so Septic, you have any questions for our runners?
No, actually, I think you covered pretty much everything I was wanting to go over myself. So.
Oh, all right. Do either of you have any final statements you want to make before we dip out here?
Flame Sand?
Always throw the monsters.
I think it's a 5/8 chance of pickup, and I don't ever get that luck.
You should
Yeah,
rewatch things.
I've been feeling the same thing, Shauny. My lift luck has been terrible recently.
Bro, do you even lift?
Apparently not enough.
But
on that note, I think we're about done here. So, SpeedGaming, thank you very much for allowing us to have our tournament on your channel and promoting us. Thank you, Shauny and Plushie, for running for us and providing us the wonderful entertainment tonight. Septic, for joining me. very well done today, sir. I appreciate the help. And of course, thank you to chat. This would not be nearly as fun or it wouldn't be possible really without you guys. So thanks a lot for all of everything that you do, keeping everything interesting. And I think that's about it for us today.
Thank you for having me. Hope y'all have fun.
Hi, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
We do have another match scheduled for tomorrow.
3 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, 3 p.m. Eastern if you want to catch that as well. I don't believe it's at a channel specifically set for it yet, but keep your eyes open for that. And with that, we're out of here.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.